Path of Exile 2 is dying, and Grinding Gear Games is letting it happen. The player base is collapsing, and it's not just a small dip, we're talking about 5% gone from the league start. But why? Over-nerfed builds, slow updates, or maybe, just maybe, there's something more behind the scene. So why Path of Exile 2 is driving its own players away? Today I'm, Spot the King, will make an investigation and tell you the truth. How it's happening, why it's happening, should we panic, and what will happen next. I guess the best place to start is with this graph. That's basically how much players playing online each day, and as you can see right now we are sitting at around like 30k players today. And when the league just started we peaked at almost 600k. It looks devastating, it looks like the game is awful, everyone just leaving and never coming back. But is this really that bad? Let's check out graphs for Path of Exile 1. So here what we can see. On one of the latest seasons we got peak online of 190k. It started in April 2024 and just in 1 month player base shrinked to 40k. In 2 months we're sitting at around like 14k players, and in 3 months we're hitting 7k player mark. So 3 months, no one playing. It's always like this. That's basically how players play Path of Exile. New season, new content, a lot of cool stuff, everyone wants to start fresh with one of new characters and try to push characters to limits. So what's with Path of Exile 2? As you can see, everything is same, basically exactly the same. But in reality we got even better. So if we check numbers, basically in Path of Exile 1, on average we're getting around 3% players left when season lasts for 3 months. In Path of Exile 2 we're sitting at 5% right now. 5% is okay, especially for game in early access without a lot of content. So don't make a tragedy from these graphs of player base. It's normal, that's how this game works basically. And Path of Exile 2 is a new game, and it's normal for people to actually fear changes. No one likes changes for some reason, or at least most of people don't. And you know, this already happened in history, and it happens again and again. Just remember, maybe not a lot of people know, but Coca-Cola was Coke before, and it were changed from original Coke, so it went to the new Coke that became classic Coca-Cola, as you know right now, and they made a blind test. So everyone were hating new Coke, but in reality in a blind test it win. Same goes for new iPhone. If you know, everyone cried about losing this jack hole over here, but in reality, you know, everyone already forgetting about this hole because everyone uses wireless right now. So don't worry, that's basically how things works in the world. And that's where you can see a lot of drama and a lot of hate on official Path of Exile 2 Grinding Gear Games channel. So let's just jump into one of the latest videos and just check the comments over here. So, no thanks, about time we boycott these entitled privileged streamers. Keep your drops. How about instead you show some love to the rest of us? 98% of us who endlessly support you. The rest of us who don't have the time to know life is silly game and win a race to win rewards that only no-lifers are gonna win. How about you just do that? And this is a comment for video that just explains new Dawn of the Hunt patch 0.2 will have live stream Twitch drops, so you don't need to do anything. Where these comments are coming from? They're actually coming from speedrun that were like speedrun event that were in the recent weeks, and yeah, there was a total of 6 prizes and it was hard to win actually. There's a lot of players who practice this style of playing a lot, and yeah, it's impossible for normal players to compete versus them. I actually attempted at the first event and I finished at 39th place. It's like isn't bad, but definitely the timing wasn't really good also. And I would say people got the right to rage. Yeah, event is basically trash. I like this meme, by the way. It's like so funny, describes everything that happened. But here's the thing. While in reality it looks like an awful event, it can give a lot of potential useful information for developers. Yeah, because, you know, these players who went for the like top 10 spots definitely practiced and tried and looked for every possible corner in the game how they can abuse the system and finish at higher places. And while event itself it got like no use for 99% of player base, I completely agree with this. I would say guys who were able to keep extremely hardcore and beginner not friendly RPG alive for like a decade, over a decade actually. And not just alive, they kept it growing. Know what they doing, you know, they got a little bit of brains, maybe like a lot of brains, and they understood, yo, we can do this event and we can find every hole in the campaign in the beginning leveling that we can close or open. Maybe all classes are too slow, so we can buff them. Maybe all classes are too weak, so we can like do them stronger, nerf them, whatever, you know, or see any vulnerabilities, any holes in the campaign. Because don't forget, while I compared this launch of Path of Exile 1 leak versus Path of Exile 2, in reality Path of Exile 2 is early access and amount of content is just miserable if we compare it to how much content and how much like cool stuff we got in Path of Exile. So this can be extremely useful for developers. Let's go to the next comment on the same video, and it also represents how much like people are raging and what are they raging about. I mean, while you'll keep treating early access like a full release instead of fixing the stuff that is actually broken. When I first read the first part of this sentence, I was like, yeah, this guy is definitely explaining everyone who's raging in the comments that guys, don't forget we're playing in early access. But no, actually he's crying too, and he's crying to developers. He asks to fix stuff that's actually broken, and he can't really understand why we have to wait 3 months for balancing and fixing. And that's like most common problem that everyone got in the comments, like most common stuff that you will basically see if you read the comments who's at least writing a little bit more than fix your endgame, then we'll come back, you know, stuff like this. We're actually running a little bit more than 3 months, 110 days to be like exactly precise, and it will be ended in 6 days. Yeah, in 1 week we will start basically playing Dawn of the Hunt 0.2. Actually it starts in 9 days. Why I don't need to like fully pay attention to comments like this? Because actually they tried to fix stuff. You know, in the beginning there were a lot of crazy builds, like insanely broken builds for Invoker Monk, for like Stormweaver with the custom crit, custom freeze, stuff like that. And they fixed it, but everyone went bonkers. Everyone cried on the forums, everyone was raging because, oh, we invested so much time in these builds and now you're taking this away from us. And you know what? I actually completely agree with this statement. I wonder what you think about this situation. Go write in the comments. Do you think it's good to fix everything on the next leak, basically in the like 2-3 months, or fix it right away? Why I'm on the side with the guys who say never fix stuff? Basically because who cares? In my opinion, we're playing single player game technically. Yeah, we can play in trade league, so we can buy some stuff. If your build is a little bit slower than average build, for example, let's go to my channel, and actually I started the game, like the whole game with the witch. I wanted to play like minion build, but then I decided, whoa, I can play damage over time dot build. So which build you need basically over here is damage over time witch starter build. Pretty good, pretty fun in the campaign. Then I advanced to the end game and started to add extra layers of damage, Totem Blaster Witch. And it looks like this. Basically we're casting some spells, enemies is like disabled, and my totem trying and destroying everyone it sees. It looks cool, it's pretty fun to play, it's interesting, but at the same time it's pretty slow. At the same time we can build something like this, like Basically a monk who completely destroys bosses. He basically melts like 70 million HP, zashed, whatever, any boss in the game, it clears everything. Like millions of DPS even without perfect gear. And should developers actually make every class be able to deal same damage? I say no, because who cares? If you like to play Witch, you can play Witch, you will play slowly this season, maybe you will fall away from the economy, you won't be able to like buy the perfect stuff for perfect builds, but you can buy stuff for your build. I mean, I was able to buy any item for my Witch pretty easily because no one were playing chaos damage basically, so I got like best gear for my Witch extremely cheap for like few Exiles. And in the end, any leak of Pulse of Exile will end the same. Basically, everyone starting over here, playing, and then boom, everyone creating new character. It doesn't matter how your character fights, there is no PvP. Basically, you like playing versus AI, if you can call AI this like bots who just standing still and you destroying them in one hit with most builds. So who cares? I mean, if there's broken builds, fine. But if there's like a lot of not broken builds, that's also fine. That's my opinion, I want to see your opinion again. And now, let's jump over here, because I like to see your opinions, I like to hear your opinions, I always read all comments, and also I'm creating some polls on my channel. And this poll basically describes a lot of stuff. So, we got this question, how much you play the game in a week? In a week, not in a day. And as we can see, majority from 300 votes, it's not a lot, but also it's not like a small spectrum, so we got a lot of opinions over here, a lot of knowledge. A lot of people actually play, the majority of people actually plays less than 1 hour a day, or about 1 hour a day, something like this. A lot of players also play like about like 2 hours a day, so it's like 10 hours in a week. It can be like 2 sessions on a weekday. I mean, when you're working, maybe you're not playing. So basically around 2 hours a day in a week, around 1 hour or even less in a day in a week, that's where the majority of player base is. Considering this, players got around 100 hours at most in the game. And is 100 hours is enough to clear the like pinnacle bosses in the end game, to clear campaign? Yeah, that's exactly how much it takes to level up your character to around like level 90, by doing chill stuff, by not doing everything perfect. And I guess guys who answer like 1 hour a day, 2 hour a day, you just won't see them in the comments. So while these guys over here who plays like 4 hours a day or even more is not in majority, we definitely need to hear opinions, but I would say not just opinions, or at least opinions, because here is just a lot of crying and nothing useful that we can like discuss on. It's just like I disappointed with you developers, that's it. We can summarize all this stuff in like one line basically. But why he's disappointed, no one knows. He's just disappointed. And a lot of guys like this. So it looks like a vocal minority. Not exactly vocal minority, it will be a little bit different, but that's basically how it looks like. So the next one is, do you enjoy Endgame System with Atlas map and precursor towers? It's a pretty awful system, we can all agree on this, but as you can see, 36% of player base, at least in my polls, they pretty like okay. They like to run towers, they fine with precursor tablets, so it's not majority, but still there's a lot of players who are okay with towers. And it's okay to say the tower system is awful, but here is the main thing where people starting to rage. And this thing is our teasers, content update 0.2 teasers, yeah. So, we got these teasers basically almost every day for like few weeks. We got a little bit and a little bit of teasers. So they tease new ascendancy basically. It looks like new mercenary ascendancy, some war leader, commander with ballista maybe. Pretty interesting to see what we will get, but here's the thing. Overall, there is nothing we can see over here. So that's just, okay, we got new mercenary ascendancy, great. Fix endgame, please. That's what you will hear on the forums most of the time. We got new legendaries. Yeah, legendary. Can I zoom in? Yeah. Basically a shield that will have more spirit, per maximum life. And everyone who plays right now knows that life is awful, you need to play energy shield if you want to survive in the late game, basically in most cases, and the shield is just level 33, so maybe stats is not the best. Actually they're looking good, and overall shield can be pretty cool for some, like, I don't know, like a lot of life builds maybe who need spirit, so for summoners, for infernalists who can get a lot of life, but again, it doesn't look like best option. Deepest tower is a helmet that makes enemies in your presence being on a low life. Again, we can have some like fun builds with it. It's pretty fun helmet, but not a lot of information. And again, basically what we see over here, there was another like legendary stuff, and they kinda trash. So overall, every teaser we see over here is trash. But why it's not trash? Probably, I'm not sure. Basically because we don't have any idea how the game will look in release, and also even in the next patch. We don't know how they can change the systems, how they will work. Because right now, yes, if you get a helmet with armor and energy shield, maybe it's good. But maybe next patch, life will be the king, maybe life will be OP, and you know what? Like maybe energy shield will be nerfed a lot. I don't know how, but maybe it will be nerfed somehow. And you will look at every piece of gear right now on a different angle, like completely different angle. So also we got some teasers of a new Atlas like tree. I can see what exactly, like the icons over here, there's definitely like pack size. This looks like a glyphs, maybe it will increase amount of glyphs. That gives you some buffs on the maps. And again, there's one legendary that also uses glyphs, so it maybe will interact with this legendary too. And again, when you don't know how the patch will look like and understand how all of this will work. So we definitely see some quality of life upgrades, updates, and we see this red essence cage, some new support gems, which can also on the paper look like a complete trash, like D tier, insanely weak gems, but in reality they can become insanely OP depending on what skills we will get with new weapons. There's some quality of life upgrades. In the next patch you will be able to link one weapon to 2 weapon slots and use completely different directions on your passive skill tree. And this can make a lot of different builds viable. There's also new ascendancy for warrior, and I can speculate that in the next patch we will get all third ascendancies for all classes we got right now, as well as the new class, of course. There will be hunters, maybe a druid, we'll see. And here we see that there's another way to get greater essences. So we see Tetzcatl, the Blazing Guardian. He will defend this place, and you can get a lot of greater essences from him. So this is actually insane, because as you can see, name written in the orange, it means he is basically a boss. And probably there will be a lot of new endgame content. We can find and interact with new pinnacle bosses, and we will get a lot more essences. Because right now, like, crafting system is complete garbage. It's basically casino with random stuff, and a lot of players actually voting to just use the same system we got in Path of Exile 1. But in my opinion, it's awful approach, because there will be just another version of Path of Exile 1. And developers making Path of Exile 2, that's what I like. And they say, no, we're not doing the same stuff, we will add this endgame content, because definitely we can't craft stuff with essence that is not existing in the game almost right now. But if there will be a lot more essence, we will be able to craft a lot more. Yeah, it will be random, but with more chances, with more attempts, we will be able to craft our legendary and godlike gear. So, overall, there's a lot of crying in my eyes, at least. Not me crying, but I see a lot of crying on the forums. But also I see a lot of, like, hype. You see a lot of guys really enjoying and waiting for grinding gear games live Path of Exile 2 0.2. Everything we need to know. It will be tomorrow at exactly the same time this video were released, and we will see what will happen in the next patch.